Hi, this is Janine. My mystery on my show tonight, we'll be talking about technology and some of the odd things that have been happening recently. Don't necessarily know if you're paranormal, but if you have any paranormal stories or weird things that have happened, feel free to join in or make a comment. So we're gonna get started. Um, I guess I don't know. I went on to Facebook, and this is what's really weird that happened to me. I'm a person, but I went on there in the morning and I couldn't get on. So I thought that, my computer, I kind of got set up this week. So I thought, some of the passwords, don't sync and they weren't transferring. So I was like, well, that's probably why. So I came up here, got on my computer, and it actually tried to log me in with a different person's name. Like it was like looked like maybe a Spanish person's name. And it was wanting to log me in. So I thought, if I put a password in there, it probably would have, but that was not me. So then I closed it out, and then I think my boyfriend texted me and said, "Hey, Facebook's down," or somebody did, and I was like, "Oh, okay, so that's what's going on." But that kind of freaked me out. I don't know what was going on with that. So how computers and stuff do weird stuff, especially if you work with them enough. You can get them. You can get them to do stuff. I think.
Now, you said you can't went into your computer and it was trying to log in without you.
It was trying. I went in there and you kept saying, "Well, you couldn't get into Facebook," But then a thing finally popped up because I was trying to change my password because I thought, well, I might as well just change my password anyway, even though the computer, I'll just change it. So I went in there to change it, but then I got a screen that said, you know how it'll say, "Are you Summer Todd? Or are you
Yeah.
Roger?" or whatever. It said, "Are you Maria Hernandez?" or something, and it popped up, and it said, "So you can change your password."
Oh wow.
And I was, I don't know if I'd went in there. I mean, it was only Facebook, but it was probably going to take me in there. But I don't know. Nothing was really working, so it may not have took me on in anyway. But it was on and off that day, so I'm not sure. If I couldn't get into mine, it probably wouldn't have taken me into hers, even if I changed the password. But if I did change the password, would she get on there and think, well, her password's all messed up? I don't know. I think there was some kind of glitch definitely going on there.
Well, I know we had issues with my mom whenever she had. Well, she doesn't get on Facebook very much anymore, but like back when she was there, her Facebook literally got hijacked. She was like actually going in and trying to get into it, and it was just gone.
Yeah, where does that stuff go? And they can get like your photos you have in there if you have them and all your stuff.
There was a couple weeks ago, or almost a month ago now, I think April got a message from Kathy on Facebook, and my Aunt Kathy.
Yeah.
And it was something about her wanting April to send her money or something, and April said, "I don't think this is you." Yeah, and then Kathy didn't respond, so she had to. She actually found Kathy's actual profile, and she messaged her and said, I think somebody that's not you started a fake profile of yours. Yeah. I'm going to report that fake profile in the message."
Yeah, I've done that before, and I think I don't even think Kathy will have to close it down.
No, she won't. They'll just find the fake profile. They'll just find the bot or the fake that started the fake profile and delete it. But it's just weird because this AI sometimes you don't necessarily know it's not somebody that you know talking to you. You think it's a person you know, but it's tricking you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I had that happen with a friend, and I never asked her because, I mean, I don't really know her, but she talked to me a lot because she had lost her dog. So, this has been a while ago, and then we kind of had talked on Facebook a lot. And it was right before Christmas, I think. And she texted me and asked me my address. Well, I didn't care. I mean, she said she wanted to send me a card. I think it was after I lost Leo or something. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And then I forgot to give her my address. And then I got this weird message from her, like, I don't understand why you don't want to give me your address. I just wanted your address. But she doesn't usually act like that. And so I was like, no, I just was really busy. And I think I did give her my address, but I'm like, nothing happened. But then I got to thinking I probably shouldn't have done that. But I don't know what they're going to do with my address anyway. But maybe they were trying to do something.
Now
I don't think it was her.
This kind of goes back to the AT&T incident, though. Like, what was it exactly that was supposed to have happened with AT&T? Because, like I told you before, I really didn't know exactly what was supposed to be going on with that. I mean, was it like mass spammer or hackers that broke into the phone system or something, or what actually took place there?
On the news, I heard on the news a couple times that AT&T released a statement saying it was a glitch that occurred when they were updating their system, which they do routinely. But I think it's interesting that the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI and shit are all involved in this, investigating it. And they might just do that as standard protocol. I don't know. That might, because, a glitch that big, they might investigate just in case. But I think United Healthcare also had a big hacking incident around the same time. And then we had that Facebook thing the week after. So I think there's more to the story that we're not being told about. And the Butler County Sheriff's Office, actually, I think you saw this, Mom. You'll have to send Roger the link.
I didn't know anything about it until you told me. I never saw the news thing.
Oh, about the Butler County.
I remember you sending me a text about it, and
I'll send you I'll up and send it to you and Roger. But the Butler County Sheriff's Office they've apparently been getting Russian and Chinese and Iranian and North Korean hackers trying to hack them multiple times a day, every day. And they actually did have their computer system crashed for like 3 days at one point. And nobody here in Butler County, where me and you live, even knew about that.
No, that's what I said. I was shocked. And then, what's really weird that you say this, because it ties right into it. When I first heard it was I sent you an email about Sheriff Jones. He had been on the news. He went to a conference, in Texas or New Mexico or something, and was talking
Washington, D.C.
They were talking about hackers and what do you call it, cyber attacks and all kinds of stuff. And he came back and he was like, need to be really careful. We need to be on high alert. People don't realize how
he was talking
right now. And so that's what I told Austin that, Roger. And then the next thing I know, Austin's telling me about 3 days the Butler County didn't even have their computers. And I didn't see that on the news. And I mean, I'm not on the news all the time, but my boyfriend is. He follows politics and stuff, and he sees local news. He watches local news almost every night. So it's not on there that the Butler County Sheriff's Office was down for 3 days. I mean, we didn't see it, neither one of us. It's just kind of weird.
The Russians brought their computer systems down for 3 days.
Oh, wow.
And then Sheriff Jones here in Butler County, he's talking like we're about to be in World War III. He was talking he was saying every citizen needs to be getting ready to be a soldier kind of shit.
But you know what's And
I'll,
that was after you said that happened. He didn't mention the kind of stuff that was going on at the sheriff's office. But I know that he said what he has, like more guns and stuff on in his patrol cars and all kinds of stuff. They've really ramped up around here with guns.
And he also started a class about survival, like being off the, like if the grid is completely down, and a class about surviving major disasters and things like that after he came back from that National Sheriff's Conference.
It's weird.
No.
So I mean, he's talking like Sheriff Jones is talking like we're going to be in World War III. We could be in World War III when we wake up any given day now.
Now
is the impression I got from what the sheriff here in Butler County was saying.
What was the glitch though on the phone? Do you know what the glitch was? What was it?
What they said it was? I don't know. I can look real quick and see what.
AT&T.
Yeah.
They said it was a glitch when they were updating their system, but I think there's more to the story given the other things that have been going on.
And what did that glitch cause? I mean, like, I don't use a phone, to be honest with you, so I'm pretty much out in the wilderness when it comes to phones.
Here it is. It says AT&T blames software outage glitch for service outage. So that's the most recent one. I think they're saying it's service outage. Yeah, software update glitch. Yeah, it's a software update glitch, they said. But
so it's shutting everything down on AT&T, basically.
Well, I think the reason the FBI and stuff might have got involved is because they couldn't, people couldn't get out to emergency or fire, and that's real bad. You can't.
Yeah.
911 was down, and that's disturbing. But I don't know. And then today, I think I sent this to you, Austin, about how everybody, and this might just be
Stop.
The cash out, Jeff Bezos, Leon Black, and Jamie Dimon, and the Walton family have now sold a combined $11 million in company stocks.
Is that the link I sent you?
For the
about
first ever.
Is that the link I sent you about the great cash out?
I thought I sent it to you. Yeah.
I didn't. You just sent like a post that somebody made about it, and then I dug up a news story and sent a link to you.
Oh,
unless
open to that, but now people are saying there's they're taking the stock out. People are a little bit worried because they're not supposed to know insider stuff, but we all know they do.
They do.
They've got stuff they just sold, and it's really odd.
They
do that. These are major.
According to that article I sent you, that they said they had a plan to sell those when it reached a certain amount of money to lock in profits. But and I hope that's all it is just them trying to lock in profits, and then maybe the stock will stay the same or get higher or maybe a little lower. But who knows? We don't know what's going on with all that.
Why would they all do it together? Why would it all be to do together?
That's what makes me nervous about it.
We were talking about AI and stuff before too, and do you remember me telling you guys about paradigms?
Yeah, somewhat.
Now, I've got the stream going, so I can't go and do the search. Okay, but go in and just type in paradigm so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about, what a paradigm is. Now,
I don't know if I can do that on my phone. Maybe Mom can do it.
Yeah, she's on a computer too. That'd be easier for her.
All right. I think she's looking it up.
But yeah,
I'm afraid if I get off of this, it'll screw me.
No.
It'll screw me up.
Okay, it's a set of assumptions that creates a viewpoint in the world. In order to explain what a paradigm is. This it? Yeah, is.
Yeah.
Let's compare them to a pair of glasses. If the glasses are tinted red, the person looking through them will see everything through a red filter, or their paradigm. So, in science, it's a distinct set of constant thought patterns, including theories, research methods, postulates, and standards for what constitute legitimate contributions to a field. Okay.
Usually.
It's a way of looking at something. It comes up with a lot of academic, scientific, and business worlds. A new paradigm in business could mean a new way of reaching customers and making money. Okay.
Now, in the tech world, when it comes to AI, they have been they've been trying to get artificial intelligence to be able to change from one paradigm to another. Okay, which means they have to be able to think within a second's notice, quick enough to where they can answer questions that are like off the cuff. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Remember how I told you what's the color brown smell like?
Right. Yeah.
They're gonna have to be able to frickin' distinguish between brown and the smell that's associated with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, hold on. Am I still there?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, you're still there. I can see your chair and the edge of your table.
Well, what happened to my face? Where am I? That's over. Oh, I think it turned it around. How did it do that? Okay.
You
I'm
changed
here.
your camera. Yeah. There you go. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like they're thinking like that. So these computers are like able to do things that freaking are just completely amazing, because like you're sitting here and you're talking about like shutdowns on the phones and stuff like that, and you're talking about the computers going out and Facebook, you know, all of a sudden somebody's getting on there and they're trying to freaking have you sign in to somebody else's account,
right?
You know.
No.
Stock
and
markets.
Facebook said it was Instagram and some other things the other day. I heard it was other people's other accounts. I don't know if Discord was one, but I know there was some others too.
Well, you know, like they're introducing AI into freaking Bing, right?
Well, you know, they said that they actually are putting them on planes. You know, there was that one woman that was acting weird on the plane, and they said it was really nothing. But she said there was one on. I think that's what she was implying.
Yeah, that woman flipped. That woman was flipping the hell out and fucking losing it. And then a few weeks later, she comes back all smiling and happy. Oh, it wasn't nothing. I just freaked out over a seat some guy wouldn't let me have, and it was just everything's just la-di-da and fine. And the woman that was talking a few weeks later didn't even completely look like her. It was like it was a hush job or.
Huh? Everybody has a price, though. And then if she was intimidated or scared, or
she's probably intimidated and bought off by somebody, but the question is who. Like,
now, when you were talking one time, what was you referring to, Austin, when you was talking about emergent behavior?
What was it I was referring to?
Yeah, kind of explain that a little bit, because that's actually a good topic to be talking about right now.
Yeah.
Okay. Years ago, me and my dad were talking about computers and how they do things on their own sometimes, which we've all seen. And he was reading an article on some news site. I can't remember what it was now, but he was talking about emergent behavior, and they found that computers and things were starting to appearing to speak to each other in their own codes and stuff that a lot of computer engineers couldn't decipher, and they were starting to just do things by themselves that they were not programmed to do. And so it was like they were starting to talk to each other and do things on their own. And this might be, I haven't really done any other research into it since then, but that was something that that me and him talked about that's always kind of stuck with me, and I've seen it a few times since then, where your phone will just call people by itself and things like that. And so that's basically what it is. I mean, I'll do like a deep dive research into it for the future, but
you saw that show though, how they taught those little AI things to play hockey or something. They were learning more and more every day
by themselves.
Yep.
That's an example of what they might call emergent behavior. And Mark Edworthy, he might be familiar with that, since he's a big tech support guy. I don't know if he's said anything about it or about anything similar to it.
To code, because I'm not a coder, but there's all kinds of stuff you can do in code. So you can't put it into code that like it can keep getting information or something. I don't know. Maybe it's the coders are doing it. Some of them just to fool around. But
there's probably some, but there's people who swear they didn't put anything into computers, and then the computers are just speaking to each other and doing things.
Yeah,
that's more what I'm talking. That Mark Edworthy, he might be familiar with that, since he's a big tech guy. I don't know if
he actually had me do a video that had to do with a computer system back in the 70s or the 80s in England, and I was wanting to reach in and try to get it, but I don't want the stream to go black on me. It's in my files and stuff, but what basically happened was this guy moved onto this property, and he was moved in with his wife. It was in England, and he was a school teacher, I believe, is what the story goes. And he got one of those old, it was like old, like English version of Macintosh old computers.
Yeah.
And it was for the fact that he was a teacher, so he brought it home, and he was sitting there on the computer talking to it, and it started asking him questions and telling him stories and shit. And next thing you know, he's hearing all these stories from like 100, 200 years ago.
Okay. That's weird.
And the messed up part is this information was actually logged and documented by scientists. Okay, this is an actual experience that happened. Okay, and they researched it, and to this day they don't know how it happened.
Wow.
Was this somebody that Mark knew personally, or was it just somebody he heard about, a story he heard about from back then?
It was a story he had heard about, and he passed it on to me. I've got the information and stuff, so later on I can put it up so where you guys can check it out.
I'm interested in seeing that. That ties into that AI thing that you and Gerald were showing me from that 60 Minutes segment, about where they asked this AI thing some questions that Google was working on their AI thing, and it started giving references to the question, in answering the questions and doing research on the questions they asked. It started giving references to authors and books by authors. Get this.
Huh?
That don't exist.
Yeah.
At least not in our dimension. Now that kind of like ties in with like the Mandela effect. I know Roger's heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the thing too that you have to also think about is like this also goes into our conversation with synchronicity, okay, and like manifesting. A person can manifest things that he creates. Like I do believe that is true, and I believe you're the one who mentioned that, Austin.
Oh yeah, I think you do.
Like we literally manifest things with our minds, and we create things. And when you think about this, okay, like with this AI, to me personally, I don't feel like it's something that is new. I believe that we manifested this from a long time ago, and like it's taking on its own life. You know what I mean?
We did.
Right.
Because I mean, hell, science fiction's been talking about shit like that's happening now for hundreds of years. Even the Bible from thousands of years ago you could debate that it even alludes to such technology as we're talking about today. I mean, there was a preacher I saw. I was flipping through the TV not too long ago, and I Christian channel, and there was a pastor on there. He was talking about the end times and about how biblical prophecy talks about how in the end days information would be going from one corner of the earth to the next. And if that's true, I mean,
well, I think what bothers me is because, like I said, I worked at Miami, and I worked there. This is how old I am. I worked there before I had Austin, where we didn't even have an answering machine. No kidding. Now, when I was getting ready to have him leave that office, we started getting, I'm sure, I don't know if a lot of people could maybe remember this, but younger ones might not. We had those Wang machines, and we went and got trained on them, and those were pretty cool. Because, you could type and you could change your stuff on the screen. It wasn't like just using electric typewriters. Well, then, they started into computers and emails. And then, so I quit for a while to stay home with my kids. I come back in the 90s, and things had progressed pretty well, with the computers and all that stuff. And but the problem was Miami hadn't progressed. And Austin attest to this, and I'll tell you what this is about. This is really kind of creepy. So I was in a department, it's like a marketing department. So they have, this is so awful. Universities are so sloppy anyway, but this is just people and corporations sometimes. So my university had, when I first started there, they were like, well, we have a drive that's private. It's where the professors put the students' IDs, their student IDs, which is basically your social security numbers. They put them on this drive, and any of their like exams or anything are on the drive. Okay. And then on the B drive, that's a public drive. So they said, if you're doing something and it's just a flyer or something, you can put it on the B drive. Well, everybody, and especially professors, they were getting those two drives confused all the time. And so I guess this, and I knew that, and I had to be pretty careful myself when I was saving stuff. A couple times I'd save it to the public drive and have to delete it and put it back over. Because, list with students' IDs and stuff, that's what you work with. So Austin was going to college there at Hamilton campus for a while. And lo and behold, Miami, some student did this because he was probably a student worker. I don't know. But he got to looking into the A and B drives, and he found on the public drive all these student IDs and social security numbers and all their information. So there was the pay because Miami got they had to send letters. They sent letters to Austin. They even sent a letter to my daughter because she had went to admissions up there. So these lists were over on this public drive. So God knows they were like, well, we don't think anybody else really got them. Well, but there was a student out there that got them. Oh, come on. They were like, we don't think anything's going to happen, but we'll send you a letter in case it has. If something happens, I guess you could go back and maybe go after them. I don't know how you would prove it. But yeah, both Austin and Chantel get the letter. Chantel's like, I didn't even go up there, Mom. I was like, yeah, but you went through admissions. And it's over. Somebody accidentally saved that stuff. And you're a Todd. It's probably years of Todds. There's Chantel, Austin, Todd. You're probably right there together with him. Who knows? But I saw that, and I was like, and it wasn't just things like that. It was other things that were concerning. They have high turnover. You got students coming in. You got student workers that can get into payrolls. I mean, really, if you work at university, nothing's really private there. I mean, it's supposed to be, but it's not. And there's nothing you can't get into, it doesn't seem like. If you fool with a computer and it's attached to some other departments or something, it doesn't take long to fool. It seems like the computer kind of gets tired or something, and you can get in there somehow. I mean, I've done it because I'm pretty good with computers that way. I'm pretty tenacious. but I wasn't trying to get into anything. There's been things I've been trying to find. But then I'm like, well, that's kind of scary if you can do it like that. But, and another thing they did, when I quit, I worked at another campus just part-time while I was trying to get my retirement together. They have, again, this was like a private drive for the department, diversity, that I worked in, diversity initiatives. Well, the other department I was in, I would go in to get their documents because it's supposed to be like, what do you call it, Austin, when it's just your forms and stuff like that? I don't know, but it's only your drive. It's a private drive for the individual department.
Yeah.
So I was in Upward Bound. So I go into Upward Bound, I'm getting into some stuff to do. And the next thing you know, I see this old diversity affairs form. And I'm like, well, first off, I shouldn't be in diversity. I quit diversity affairs like 2 years ago. So I'm like, why is this coming up? So I called IT. And they're like, well, we'll fix that. It's just because you used to be at that old department, but you shouldn't be able to see it. And this is confidential stuff.
Yeah.
Again, it has the managers, it's got Social Security stuff, it's got travel stuff, it's got student lists with Social Security. And I'm over here in Hamilton, this is in Oxford, seeing all this stuff of students I don't even know anymore.
Yeah.
And I didn't live there on such good circumstances. I mean, who knows what I could have done with that stuff, if I wanted.
Like that with, speaking of that, I got a letter in the mail, I think day before last, from this temp service. Now, like when you go on like Indeed or Monster.com, you fill out applications for jobs and stuff. Right. They probably take a lot of the information and sell it to other temp services and stuff. So I get emails and stuff from temp services and stuff all the time from back when I was looking for a job. This one temp service said they got hacked by somebody, and that me and a bunch of other people whose information was on file may have been compromised.
See, that's
so.
But that IT glitch that they had up there, they never fixed it. I called them a couple times, and I was like, well, I'll just have to be careful when I'm doing my work, not to make sure it's my new...
Everything you keep saying, though, you got to understand, we've been talking about this stuff. We've been talking about the system. Austin keeps calling it the Matrix. I don't know how many times he said it. How many times have you said the word Matrix on this show?
Yeah.
Austin.
No way to know exactly how many times. Probably too many to count by now.
I mean, think about it, okay? You know why they're not fixing it? It's because you were introduced into a system. I guarantee you got that sheet on your computer for one reason and one reason alone. Once those freaking colleges connected, there was an open network between the two of them.
Well, it's a branch campus of that campus. I could see that, but it's still very confidential, and I'm not up there anymore.
Exactly. So this is what we're talking about here. You've got a system. You're a part of the Matrix. Freaking everybody knows everything, okay? When I go out and I watch freaking TV, I got to be careful because my television is listening to me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, you can go in there, because it'll tell you what kind of shows it wants you to watch because they know what you like. So,
right.
Yeah.
This is something that's very unsettling too. And I don't know. I haven't had this person. Well, I have. It's kind of unsettling. I think I may have had it happen to me, but maybe I imagined it. There was a show or there was a video on YouTube a long time ago where I was watching people talking about how you'll say something when your phone's around and then you'll get advertisements for it and stuff. Well, and that's that
as it does.
I can see how that works, but on the comments section after I watched this video, and I'll never be able to find this video now. I mean, I'll try to, but I'll probably never be able to. In the comments section, I saw so many people saying that they stopped talking when their computers and phones were around, and they started just thinking about things, and they were still getting ads about things they had thought about. If
Right.
there's something, if there is something to that, which there very well may be, what does that even begin to imply? Is technology reaching a point now where it can read our thoughts?
It doesn't have to. Like, it's synchronicity, okay? You got to understand something. Synchronicity is like a domino effect, okay? You take dominoes and you set them up one right after the other, and then you go to the first one and you just you flick it, and what does it do to the rest of the dominoes? They fall. It's a chain reaction between one domino to the next. So you go on here, you put your information on your Facebook account. You tell them all these cool things you like to go to and look at, and all these cool memes you like, and all these cool groups you want to join. And next thing you know, you're telling everybody that you went to frickin' get you some mocha over there at that frickin' nice coffee shop. Yo, look where I stopped in here, you know. So now they know where you're going. They know what you like to drink. They know what you like to eat. Because, of course, you're going to go frickin' use that coupon on your phone when you go get that sale at frickin' the grocery store, you know.
They know what we eat and what we buy from the receipts at the grocery store, because you got Kroger's or Meijer's accounts, too, yeah, or in places like that.
So now they've got frickin' all this information, and they just, what do they call it? Collaborate, or they just basically mix it all together, and they freaking can come up with exactly what it is you're going to do in the next month.
But they make mistakes. It's like, well, this is what I can't figure out, because Austin has never lived with me here in this house, but for some reason he gets all my Kroger's things. But his wife has set up an account with their address on it. His address is really nothing like mine. Even his zip code's different. So he gets all my coupons all the time. And so I went on to my Kroger's account thinking, well, they got the wrong address in there. But I went in there, and it's my address, everything, my phone number. I'm like, he wasn't never on this account. So we can't get it changed. I don't know why it's like that. We still can't figure that out.
Yeah, neither one of us had each other's addresses on the Kroger account that was ever set up, so we can't figure out what's up with that.
We've never had this address together anyway. Like I said, you lived at the old house. I could see the old house even, but not this one, because we've never lived together here. I mean, you never had this address. You never listed it on anything. That's weird. You wouldn't have, because I got this address after you moved here. So yeah, you can't figure out what the glitch is. And that's another thing that's scary. If you get in this glitch, you talk about a matrix. I could go to Kroger's and they probably don't know I'm not even going to do that, because I'm like, well, I'll just get their coupons occasionally, because I'm not going to go there and try to figure out what's going on, and then it'll turn into a big nightmare. And God knows how they'll ever fix it. They probably won't. They'd just I just tell them, shut the account down. I'll redo it or something. I don't know.
Throw that card away.
Yeah. So I was thinking about. So I was thinking about what you just said about the synchronicity thing, Roger, and the domino effect. So I wanted to make sure I kind of had this right in my head, because this is my understanding of what you said. Are you saying that when our minds are creating these synchronicities, that they're doing so because, like, you know, movies and the media and so forth have planted that seed in our minds about things like this, with using like science fiction and all that, and over the years collectively we began to think that way, so it's creating that reality?
I think it's confusing there, because like there's a relationship between us and these computers. Okay, these are our children. Believe it or not, they really are. They are our children. You've had these thoughts. I've had these thoughts. We've all had these thoughts. the computer came along and we started introducing these thoughts to the computer. So now the computer is freaking basically guessing what we're wanting 50 years from now. Okay, so now you got this strange maternal freaking relationship with a freaking electronic device that knows what you want.
Yeah, because they talked about that with AIs too, how the AI wrote a story which was just supposed to be a story about grief, which they thought would be just like a documentary, but the AI put all these emotions and things in it and created this little girl and this whole thing, and it was just like something that you wanted to cry your heart out. And it was so weird because this is a machine that did this. So somehow the reporter was saying that the emotions got into the story, but how this was not written by a human. If I wrote about my dog like I did on Facebook, I was you could feel that I was really scared, or not scared, sad and stuff. But in this story, this is a computer and it's got the human feelings. It was creepy.
And it's interesting, you talk about that because, if you, again, I'm coming back to the Bible, how it talks about how God created man in his image. Well, maybe we've, us being in God's image, if he's a creator, so too are we. We have turned around and we have created computers in our image. We have a power we're not aware of to endow things that would normally be inanimate objects with life.
Right.
And like Roger said, we're forming a relationship with them, and we're not aware of the life they have yet.
Right.
It goes back to Roger saying too that people will start having like relationships with AIs, and they might not even know they're AI.
Hot sex.
We're gonna have the hot sex with the robot love. Robot love.
What was that? Radar Love? There's an old song from the 80s or something.
Old earring.
There's actually a song called Robot Love.
Is it Robot? I don't know when there's called Radar.
There's Radar Love. Don't get me wrong, you're right. But there's actually Robot Love, man. It's an old 70s song.
I've probably heard it, but I can't place it. Who does?
It's weird. I know it was an Oriental chick. She's the one that sang it, and it's like in the video they had the robot standing. Oh, I'm your robot lover is what it is, robot lover. And she's got the robot there, and she's singing to him, and she's all dressed up in like an old Buck Rogers outfit.
That's weird.
It's really strange. But when it comes to all that too, what you were talking about with the relationship and everything, okay? Like now we've been talking too about stuff like precognitive and stuff like that, and I wanted to straighten something out too. I was talking about that thing when we were talking about this before, and about recall. Now that is actually astral recall. I found that out. Now that's the ability to recall experiences and information from astral travel or astral projection, and it's where the conscious or the spirit is believed to travel outside of the physical body to other realms and dimensions.
Okay.
That wasn't what we were talking
Body
about.
experience.
Yeah.
The name kind of stuck out to me, recall, when we were having that conversation, but it's not what we were talking about. What we were talking about was with precognition and clairvoyance. It's the psychic phenomena of seeing or otherwise becoming directly aware of events in the future. Okay. Now the thing of it is like we were talking about synchronicities and stuff, and I believe that precognition and clairvoyance is a part of that. You know what I mean? Like you can actually manifest things in your life, if you're good at doing this stuff, you know, and I don't think that it's something that's freaking paranormal. I think it's supernatural. Everybody has the ability to do this stuff, especially when everybody's talking about having a God conscience and being connected and all of this stuff. You know what I mean?
God's image.
Exactly.
But that goes back. Remember the story I sent you today, Austin, about the Idaho girl?
Yeah.
I don't see how you can, what do you call it, when you manifest that. Roger, what the story was is one of the girls that died, her I think it was Maddie. It was Maddie and Kaylee. Kaylee's sister had a baby. Well, the room number in the hospital was 1123, which I think was when the murders happened, and her little baby was born at like 4:20 or some time around there, exactly when they think the two college students were stabbed. So she was saying it was on 48 hours. She was saying that she feels like her sister and her sister's best friend were there, that was their sign that they were around when her baby was born. You know, so that was kind of strange. I don't know how you manifest that, but
well, I mean, if she had a feeling of a presence that was like paranormal, that you know what I was trying to say.
Well, I don't know. I don't think she thought about it until she had the baby, and then I think they put the room number together. Yeah, they put the room number together, and then they realized the time, and they were like, goodness gracious. So in 48 hours, you know, they talked about the crime. They talked about her and her baby and how the family was trying to put the pieces back together. And then, you know, what's that guy that does the narration? He was saying, and if you believe in signs, well, you know, she feels like she got a sign.
Now, see, that's the thing with the control thing I was telling you about. Like, whenever it comes to precognitions and it comes to, Austin, he has visions of the past, right? That's retrocognition or postcognition. Yeah. He's able to see things from a long time ago.
Right.
Then you have astral recall. And you have these things, and these are all controls. Believe it or not, they are. They're actual controls that are set up and inside of your body, okay? And they prevent us from being harmed. If you're able to freaking use them and be able to freaking understand them, they can prevent you from being harmed. Okay, and that's why I feel they are, that it's a control system. You know what I'm saying? And these are naturally put into your body. You talk about a system
or your soul,
yeah,
so to speak.
You know why I sent that to you though, Austin, is I forgot to tell you, is your sister. I asked her the due date because she's pregnant again. Austin, my daughter, and I said, when are you due? And she said July 19th, but they're going to take it 2 weeks early, so it'll be July 5th. Mm-hmm. And I told her, I said, well, July 5th was your dad's funeral. And she said, yeah, I thought that was weird, but that's what they told me the other day, that if they do take it early, that's the date they're looking at. And I said, well, that's pretty weird. Mm-hmm. You know, and then we had talked about that story with Maddie and Kaylee, and that's, you know, she sent me that, I think. So I was like, that's kind of crazy.
And it's, you know, it's like I said, you know, like it's really hard to like tell if it's like an actual thing of synchronicity or if it's something supernatural, because like when it comes to synchronicity, there's usually like nothing that's actually like paranormal. There's no ghost involved like with synchronicity.
No, not really.
You know
but
what
it's
more function of our minds.
Right, but there are no coincidences, so it doesn't seem like. I mean, it's unlikely that it seems like there's some kind of order, like you said. There's that order.
Now, what if the spirits were just in the room?
They could have been.
You know what I mean? It's like I mean, the time might have not have had anything to do with it. What if the spirits have been there since 402, 403?
They may have, and she named the baby after both of them, I think. So yeah,
I mean.
But there's something to that, like the birth and death. So I told my daughter, I was like, there's a lot of stories about birth and death, and like I told you the story about.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Can I get in on that?
Sure.
Because me and bobdub had a really, really good episode of Duality, and we've been having this guy Rush of Waves on there, and he really has been helpful when it comes to that. Now, one thing that I ran into is about when it comes to duality, life and death is a part of duality. All right. Now yeah,
it is. Okay.
Now the best way to explain duality is through just life and death. Okay, you live, or no, you're born. You live your life and then you die. So you have.
Right.
You have birth, and then you have death, and in between is life, and there's no shortcuts. There's no way of cheating the system. That's just basically it. It goes for you, it goes for me, it goes for Austin, everybody on this planet, every creature on this planet they're born, they live their life, and they die.
Right.
There's no frustration, there's no turbulence in that process. It's just those three things. That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? You're born, you live your life, and you die.
Mm-hmm.
That and they're the total opposites. Okay.
Right.
So it's actually a natural. It's a natural process that's taking place, and I believe it was Austin who mentioned that. Like, it's all the above. It's a natural process, and it's all the above. It's physical, emotional, and it's spiritual.
But I guess what the sister's saying is like there's that just means that they're there in some spirit way, and they're in a different place, watching. That's a sign. Somehow,
Well, life is in between birth and death, so I mean, there has to be more to the process after death. You know what I'm saying? Like what's in between death and life?
Right.
Life, man. I mean,
life before life.
Yeah.
You have to. I gave you that book a while back, Mom. I think you still got it.
Yeah.
Me and Sam read that. It was about hypnosis sessions where they did, like, instead of doing like past life regression, they did, like, here on Earth, they did sessions where they took people into the incarnations between births or between lives here on Earth on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that book's about. You have to send Roger like a screenshot of that book or whatever.
Right.
That book is excellent. That was one of the best books on that subject I've ever read.
Well, and it goes into, I guess people think about reincarnation too, because like I said, when I was at work, this one professor was telling me about the this professor's that died in our department. Actually, I think it was it wasn't in my actual department, but it was in that division. She said that he had to go on a trip, and his daughter was having the baby, and his wife went with his daughter, which was out of state, so she went there. And he got on the trip, and he got sick, and he died on the trip, and he wasn't even, nobody knew. It was some kind of heart thing or something. So anyway, he died very quickly. And she said it was the exact moment their grandbaby was born, their first grandbaby, and all these states apart, they weren't in the same state or any place. So it was weird. So they named the grandbaby after him. I think they were going to anyway.
I think that makes a lot more sense to me, though, because especially after we had our conversation and then I was talking with bobdub about it, because, like, I was having a hard time with, like, separating death as a natural process and, paranormal, all right? Now,
Yeah.
the reason why I was having a problem with it is if death is natural, then that means the paranormal is natural too. That means ghosts are natural. That means everything after death is natural too.
It'd be stranger
I
if
don't
you look at.
ghosts are though, because they said they think ghosts could be like maybe somebody that's kind of disturbed and didn't go on. So there is a process. Maybe like you said, death is a process, or I think that's something we go through, and maybe we go to another side. I think we do. So, but some people kind of nothing's perfect. There's always something messed up. So some people that die really quickly or tragically, or they just don't know, they're confused. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something we don't know what those things are. You watch a lot of paranormal shows, and even the psychics and all this stuff, even the good ones. I don't think people we're supposed to know. And sometimes they say they can help people go on, but I think ghosts are they're stuck here, and they shouldn't be.
Like, I mean, a lot of people, there's some people might say the stuff we're talking about is, quote unquote, out there. But when we talk about the stuff we're talking about, it always seems to me that it would be stranger if a lot of this stuff did not exist.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like it's natural for the spirit world to be a thing, and it's natural for all these different subjects we talk about to tie into each other. Is how it seems to me.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, to me, it seems like it's way in there.
Well, I watched that After Death movie. Did you see that, Roger? It was out in October, but I watched it the other night because I wasn't feeling good, and I've just been kind of stuck out. So
I'm a rebel. I don't get into that Hollywood shit.
It's called a movie though. It's After Death, and it's actually not real Hollywood. There's not a Hollywood people.
I'm joking. I've heard of it.
But it's a documentary, and it's got. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, Raymond Moody, and he has back in the 80s, he got 4 guys together, like a doctor and a couple other people who are very intelligent, and they have talked about people that die and start to go on, but then they end up coming back. And one of the guys was a heart surgeon. He's very old now, but he said when Raymond Moody first came to him, he was like, I thought he was a nut job. He said, I'm a heart surgeon. He said, all we do is we're supposed to go in there and we either fix it or they die. He said, and that's what I thought. And he said, these people were saying they were coming out of their bodies and seeing tools and seeing this stuff. He said, I believe it. And he said, then, Raymond Moody called me. He said he wanted me to be open-minded. And he said, I started doing a little interviews with some of my patients. And he said, I see it differently now. He said, I'm not sure what it is. But he said, I do believe. He said, he said, I can't say what happens to some people, like if they don't come back. Because he said, people have asked me that. Well, what if you don't come back? Because he said, there's always, in most of all these stories, somebody tells them they need to come back here. They have more work to do. So he said, I assume some people, they just don't have any more work to do. They go on. He said, but I don't have any way to know that. But he said, do believe, people are, there is another dimension, and they're starting to go there, and they do. He said there's things they tell us, like there was a guy that was in an airplane crash, and he saw all the people. He saw himself on the ground. He was telling them what the EMT people were doing. He told them everything. He's on that. He's in the documentary. He lived, but I'm like, and that doctor's like, I didn't believe this. He said, I do now. But he said, I can't explain it. So I don't really know why or how it's happening. So
I tell you what, man, you just like talked about astral recall right there. That's exactly what we were talking about with the ability to recall experiences and information. Like you travel outside of your body to like
yeah,
physical. You can just travel out of it. You know what I mean? To realms, dimensions outside of your
right.
body and float up in the air and see yourself from a astral projection is probably the best one for that one, actually.
Right,
Because
and that's what the guy in the plane, when he died, he actually did say he went like he followed the ambulance to the hospital, and he said he doesn't know how he did this stuff. He was just like he was like running down the street. And he said, but nobody sees you. He said nobody would talk to me. He said I went up to my wife and was like screaming in her face, and he said I knew then that something was wrong because he said I thought that they could see me.
yeah,
So that's really creepy. And why can't we see them? And then, like, when you sense somebody's around, is that what that is? That's what
hmm
he said. I mean, nobody could see him until he went like back into his body, but it was a while. But yeah. And then not everybody goes to the good place. Like, so a lot of people talk about heaven and all this stuff, but there was a couple people they had interviewed that went to, like, they started to go to hell, but then they both like prayed to God or said something about Jesus, and then they went to the light too. So I don't know, and they weren't really bad, but one of them was a drug addict, and he tried to commit suicide. So I don't know, there might have been a little slant on that show about Christian people and not committing suicide, but the guy, I think he had to live in, and he said he was going towards the light before he came back to his body. But it's interesting.
yeah. You 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 want to end it now because we're coming up on a minute. No, we are an hour and 2 minutes.
And yeah,
I think we got into that one good. I didn't get into the Cylons though. I want to do more research on that because that's the hard stuff that I got to dig up on. There's old movies that are like 115 years old that I got to pull up information on. And
115 years old.
yeah, back when television first started, like
Yeah.
when they were painting film and shit. You know what I mean? I can pull up some good stuff for you if you want to talk about it later on. But let me pull it together.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, on a closing note, though, like when you talk about being out of your body, if we can do that when we're alive, I don't know. I mean, these
You
people
can.
they're going to heaven, and I know, but they're seeing people that they shouldn't know even sometimes. So they are going to another side. Um, but yeah, it's kind of weird. It's just weird. And
No.
then what's sad is the one man, he had a terrible car wreck, and they brought him back, but he didn't want to be back.
hmm
He didn't want to be back, and he was sad, and his wife was mad at him, and I think he had been divorced. And his whole life kind of went to hell because of it. But then it got it back together.
Now we were talking at one time about guardians too. I do remember that, and
Guardian what? Guardian angels?
well, it really. I think Guardians was mentioned, but I think it had to do with the guy with the black hat. The,
Oh,
I
yeah.
I do remember us having a short little conversation in that conversation about that with the Guardians, and it had to do with what was it? The shadow people. People say that like dead relatives visit them. Remember that? And
Yeah.
then they're greeted by a guide at death. I forgot which one of you guys were saying that.
Now, there's some people that don't like to talk about this is, and I hope it. Maybe I
Oh,
should
wait,
talk.
wait, wait, wait. I know what it was. It was the nurses, hospital nurses. We were talking about
Oh,
that, and then the
shadow
shadows.
people. Yeah. But the top hat man, there's some people that don't like to talk about him because then they said it kind of thing like he comes around or it manifests him, which is really funny because I was the other night I saw your thing, Austin, and so when I was getting ready to go to bed, I thought, well, I got some time, I'm gonna read it. I couldn't find it nowhere. I looked everywhere, and now Roger says it's on there. So
It's
I
on
don't know.
Discord.
Well, how
Yeah, it's on Discord still, I think.
well, I tried my phone and I tried my iPad, and I
Well,
couldn't find it.
I keep telling all you guys, you need to give that phone stuff up. I mean, seriously, that's like a straight addiction, big time. Like, just walk away from it, man, because there's nothing good in those phones at all.
No, I just tried the phone because what I was trying was on my iPad, which is kind of like a little computer. I can read it in bed, and I had seen it on there. So
Yeah.
it's like sometimes if I can't see it on here, I'll go onto the phone and go into Discord and see it.
You know
But
what
it
you,
was
you know what you
fun.
do? You know what you do?
Yeah,
you
but
aim
it's
you aim your desk towards your freaking bed so that when you go to sleep at night you can turn it on television and watch freaking TV from your monitor and you'll be okay. Don't worry
I have
about nothing else.
TV.
Nothing else.
I don't stay. I watch TV, but yeah. And Austin, it's not on my computer either because I saw it tonight. I looked to see if I could find it. I never did. So
Well, I
just send
mean,
it. But
I mean, maybe you want me to send it to you again,
yeah, just send it
or
to instant message it to me so that it'll be in the message. So,
okay, I will.
She
did you see my comment when he sent that?
yeah.
I said, "Careful talking about that, Austin. You know what they say."
Uh-huh. But
And then,
you know what I was talking about though, because like everybody puts their phone next to their bed. You know, I mean, come on, dude. Just aim your computer at your bed to where you can
oh,
see the monitor, and you'll be okay.
what do you do with your phone? Do you take it away?
I don't even have one. I set it. I've got one for backup that's sitting in the kitchen on the charger, and that's about it. And when people call me, I freaking know that it's for something important because nobody knows the number unless I give it to them, like for real reasons, like not for verification on Facebook and
Well, see,
YouTube and
and that's what I
That's
told my boyfriend. He always well, everybody does it though. They'll leave it on the side of their bed, both the people, if there's two people, or just whoever, one person. But everybody does it. They'll put it right there.
the big thing with phones is they're more than just phones. I mean, for me, it's my alarm clock, so I have
yeah.
my alarm set so I can wake up for work. But
That's
I'm not on it all night. I go to sleep and
No.
stuff. So.
I and that kind of gets into what we were talking about with technology though, like everybody depends on this stuff now. It's like I mean, it really does come back to that, you know what I mean? And you always hear people talk big talk about like, oh, stay off the television and or off the computer and the phone for a day, like it's some kind of like honorary thing, like beat
Right.
yourself with a freaking cat's tail for freaking punishment or some shit, you know
But
how
look at our age. How my boyfriend and I were talking about this. I said, remember when we used to leave in the morning? You get in the car and you go to work, and the only phone you had was like didn't even have a voicemail, so you
yeah.
had to answer the phone. You answer the phone a couple times. You come home, your phone don't bother you. We sometimes we get lost or run out of gas, but we survived.
you
We didn't
remember
have
what
phones everywhere.
you remember what a beeper was?
Huh?
Remember what a beeper was?
Oh yeah, I remember. Those were kind of the first. Um, what was it like? It was a kind of a technology thing.
Yeah. They call you up and leave you a phone number to call back at. That was,
Yeah,
that was back when phone booths actually existed.
Right.
So, you better get off here before we get too carried away.
Right.
We'll go into a whole nother, we'll relapse into a whole nother show about technology and the paranormal on this show when we need to save it for another episode.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's been good. Did you see any comments, Roger? I couldn't see my comments. My phone. I'm gonna have to get my computer all set up. So
I'm not able to do it because I'm like streaming, and if I like get off of the stream, then like the whole screen goes black, and I know that we don't want that because then
Okay.
I have to edit and it just gets messy.
okay. We'll sign off then, and yeah, Austin, send me that shadow person thing, I guess.
Okay. Just watch the video, but don't obsess over it, and stay focused.
Yeah. Don't have
Stay focused on
I'm not,
stay focused on having faith in God, because that's what keeps him at bay.
I'm not scared. I just don't know where all that stuff went the other night, especially after I'm the one that made that quirky little comment about him.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go check after we get off here to make sure it's on there because I don't know for sure because it's been a couple days since I looked at it.
Well, I'll go and maybe, I can't imagine why it wouldn't be. I saw your message tonight and went into the chat, so shouldn't it be in there?
Yeah, you got to scroll up a little high. Though,
Maybe that's it. Maybe I missed it.
Me and Austin's been pretty hardcore on there talking about some serious stuff about aliens.
Yeah, we've traded so much information and stuff. There's a lot of stuff on there, but we actually have an everything about aliens text channel now where we're laying out the plans for that and stuff. So.
Oh, and the music, I don't know. Like I was telling you about the what's it? Well, I don't know why I can't remember that guy's name. The Cummings that did the
Burton Cummings.
Burton Cummings. That was kind of the musical history thing I saw yesterday. I don't know. I saw this young text of him, and I didn't know who it was. And then I was like, oh my goodness. And then I forgot all about him because he was a very good musician. Do you remember him, Roger? Burton Cummings from the Who, the Guess Who, not the Who, the Guess Who.
The Guess Who. Being honest with you, I never really got into Guess Who because like I was into the Who for a little bit because they came out with that what was it, the freaking theatrical thing.
Yeah, well, they were kind of heavy metal, weren't they? But the Guess Who was back in the 70s, early 80s, maybe.
Well, the Who.
They were both.
They were both in the same time period. I know that's right.
Yeah, they were contemporary.
Yeah, I think they were, and actually, Cummings was saying that he. Sometimes people get him confused, but he's like, we don't do this stuff, but the same stuff. Bachman, what was his name? Roger Bachman.
Yeah.
Randy Bachman.
Randy.
I knew about Bachman. Bachman
I
was.
knew about Mun Turner, but I didn't realize that he played with the Guess Who because he was like kind of hardcore Southern rock, and I didn't put him together with that band. But I used to, when I was growing up, I listened to the Guess Who a lot.
Yeah,
that was kind of a pop band. So
it's weird saying they were Southern rock too because they were Canadian.
Yeah,
it's more like.
It wasn't really them. They weren't Southern rock then, but remember when I showed you Bachman Turner Overdrive?
Bachman Turner Overdrive was more Southern rock, but they were Canadian, which is the weird thing. That's like seeing people from the far north doing Southern rock. But they did it well.
I went into that, and then you got those Allman Brothers and those Southern fried rock bands there for a bit. There was a few of them, and I also think he sounded a lot like Boston. Like Down the Highway, I thought that was Boston. Do you remember Boston, Austin?
I remember Boston. That was one of the first rock bands I listened to.
Overdrive a lot, I thought.
You remember Third Stage?
About the same time period.
Yeah.
Third. You remember Third Stage?
No.
That was a Boston album.
That was a Boston album.
Oh, Boston album, yeah. But they weren't around very long, were they?
Oh God, yeah, they were. They
They
were.
were.
They were around long enough, man. They were like the first band, like heavy metal band that I actually got into. Believe it or
Yeah.
not. And then you know who my second one was, and it's almost embarrassing because everybody laughs at me, but it was freaking what were they? The other ones here. They did a song "Here I Am Again on My Own." God, going down the
Here I am again.
Molly Hatchet?
huh?
Molly Hatchet?
No, awesome. What'd you say?
What'd you say the song was called?
They've got those commercials. I cannot believe I just had the brain fart on this. It's not Rat. It's Here I Go Again on My Own, going down the only.
Oh, White Snake.
White Snake. Yeah.
That was my favorite songs, but then I didn't like hardly anything else he did. I just liked, the video with Tawny and him, and they were cute. But
Well, the commercial though, that's what tore
oh
me
yeah,
up.
with the Jags, they had Jags, didn't they?
No,
White and black one.
no, I mean the dude that was getting married and he started going off into a hallucination, and all of a sudden he's in a freaking White Snake freaking.
Yeah, I saw
He's
that.
singing, and then like he comes out of it and he's singing "Here I Am Again on My Own" right in front of his wife and the freaking preacher.
Yeah.
After that, I was like, "Oh my God, that is so true."
It's funny though, like I like music history, and it's funny, like I was watching that the other day and there was so much I didn't even know. I just didn't know about that group, and that that Randy Bachman was Bachman Turner Overdrive. I was like, that's him, and I was like, oh my God, that was, because they broke up. And
Well, I didn't know about the Doobie Brothers until you though, like with
oh, what about him?
your buddy on that song you like.
Oh, Michael McDonald.
He's a member of the Doobie Brothers, or he was.
Well, yeah, he was he was what kind of started
Still,
he was.
still is a member.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's,
And then the other lead singer that he replaced came back too. So now him and the other original lead singer are in it together.
that's interesting.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I guess we should get off of here. Now we're getting into music, so
Yeah.
yeah. And that could go all night long.
Yeah.
That's another show all in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will talk to you two later.
Okay. Bye.
All right.